So what is a diversity officer? I don't think this position even existed 20 years ago. I don't think it exists in China, and most likely doesn't exist in Romania. It seems to be a deeply American and British tradition. Probably in Australia as well, right? So the way I would describe it is, despite the name suggests that it's about, diversity of ideas, no, a diversity officer is a master geneticist. He deals and dabbles into the genetical arts to make sure that the people that are being hired at the company have the right pedigree, that they have been born correctly. So this is a person that works overtime in order to look at your family tree. They're very concerned to see what stock did your mother come from, where did your father come from, who are his parents. And then I don't know how it's done. Like, do they do the one drop rule, or how exactly does it work? But they want to see if your parents fucked correctly. Because if they didn't, if you do not have the right genetical material, how can you be a doctor? How can you be a university professor? Like things can be incompatible, right? Like if your university has hired enough people of the certain genetical makeup, then maybe there is no room for you. Like, even though you may be an expert in the field, all the positions have been already taken, right? And once they dabble with the genetical material, they look at the cock and pussy. And they want to see how you identify, like, how is your brain wired, right, compared to your genetical organs. I mean, it's a difficult job, isn't it? You need to struggle, but apparently, I understand that diversity is a strength. Like, if you play a RPG, you put the cloak of diversity and it gives you +5 strength. However, I noticed that diversity seems to be your strength, not theirs, because when one of the staff members that was dealing with diversity was fired because they weren't diverse, that was their weakness. Wasn't their strength. I guess it's kind of like extortion, right? Like Don Corleone uses extortion as his strength, but if Don Corleone himself gets extorted, that's his weakness, right? Is that how it works? Because I find this lawsuit to be absolutely hilarious. So apparently the university is being sued for demoting a staff member for a diversity position for being white. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have the statistics. I don't have the charts. But from what I'm noticing, almost every single diversity officer is everything possible besides a cisgender heteronormative straight white man. I don't even know like why heteronormative cisgender straight white men go to grievance studies. It's like a woman going to a Catholic university to learn how to become a priest. Like, the position is just not there. I mean, you can. I mean, it's not impossible, right? Like, women aren't barred from studying how to become Catholic priests. But like, once you finish the university, you're going to have student debt. You're not going to be able to be a Catholic priest just because of the nature of the job. And it's the same with diversity officers. Like, if you're a straight cisgender heteronormative white man, you're more likely to become a Catholic priest, right? Like, the position is there for you. Unfortunately, this one is kind of limited. Again, I don't know a single company that hires the heteronormative cisgender straight white man. I'm pretty sure like there must be one somewhere, but they're very rare, aren't they? So anyway, like, this lady was upset that she got demoted for being white. Now, what I believe is happening is that most people have what I like to call diversity firings, right? In order to make room for the nobility, for the aristocracy to get in, you have to get rid of some of the other people because it's all about percentages. Like, we're not talking about human beings anymore with families, with educations as individuals. We're talking about percentages on a piece of paper. And you have to balance it out, right? So probably many people get fired because their parents didn't fuck correctly. Like this is understandable. However, they probably don't know about it, right? So if you don't know about it, you can't get sued. But because this person was in a position to do know about it, that's why she is able to sue. So apparently the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire staff member sued her employee over being ousted from a position in campus diversity office for being white. The lawsuit alleged that when Rochelle Hoffman was promoted to the interim director of the campus's multicultural student service office. By the way, when you have like student debt, crippling student debt, this is where some of the money goes, is to put food on the table to the multicultural student service, without which the engineering university cannot function. Like, this is a pivotal role. It is the bedrock of the university. So the Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity and Inclusion and Student Affairs, Olga Diaz, was told by students that a white woman was not fit to preside over a position intended to serve as students of color. Interesting, right? The whole purpose of the equity, diversity, and inclusion ideology is to help humanity advance, to create more empathetic brains, to further and broaden horizons, to awaken students to the injustices. And once the students have awakened, the first thing that they said is like, well, we can't have like a white woman preside over us. That is unthinkable. And because of that, she decided to sue. Per the complaint, another student asked, do you personally feel white staff can do as effective job as a person of color within the space? The space, like that. Now, once the human mind has been awakened, you become a physicist as well, and you talk about the space for the people of color. Hoffman said that she felt compelled to resign last year after 8 months of intense hostility and staff questioning her legitimacy after being promoted to the director. Again, I find this absolutely hilarious. Like, a race dabbler is having to deal with racism. That's... You know, like, if her job is to create diversity, like, why doesn't she awaken these students about the plight that white people like her face? I mean, look, she's being ousted from her position, and the students are doing their best to tell her it's literally because she's white. Like, they're going out of their way. They are probably very tired. I love this when the activists say, like, I'm tired, this is tiresome. To try to explain to her, it's like, look, it's nothing personal, it's just that you're white. You can't be like the diversity of inclusion and equity director. Like, I know this ideology came from white people like Karl Marx, but it's time you let it go. Like, it's time we take over. Hoffman worked at the campus office for 6 years prior to the promotion, and the office served underrepresented low-income and first-generation college students. Despite Hoffman's exceptional qualifications, what fucking qualifications? You're a diversity officer, fuck off. Like seriously, what qualifications do you need to spew racism? Like, people have been doing it for thousands of years without any qualifications. Oh my god, like the fart sniffing. You need qualification to be a diversity officer. You know, unironically, I said this in a previous video, but I, as a person who went through law school and who went through med school, I had other colleagues that went to these grievance studies nonsense, and I was like, hearing them whine and complain, it's so difficult to study, it is so difficult to learn, and I'm like, can you show me? Like what exactly do you have for your next exam? And they would show me like a list about, you know, how society is creating grievances and is the social injustices, and it's like, dude, like, I can learn this in 5 fucking minutes. I don't agree with it, but like, to study it is the most easy thing. Like, why don't you have only A pluses? Like, if you think this is difficult, like, try studying some medicine for a change, and you'll see that, right? Like, you can take some of the dumbest people alive, and the only reason that they're not qualified to be diversity, inclusivity, or equity experts is because they don't have the money to get the student loan. But like, if you actually get them through the university, it is one of the easiest things ever. Like high school itself is probably more difficult than going to a grievance studies university. Jesus. Anyway, the complaint says that while Hoffman was working, her ratings on a performance review praised her as exceeds expectations and outstanding. Look, like she was doing her best in order to fire white people. Now that she's being fired herself, she doesn't like that. The complaint stated first that students, faculty, and staff opposed her appointment as the director solely because she was white. But like, again, let's look at it from an ideological perspective. What does diversity care about merit? Like, I would like to ask her, at which point does diversity care about merit? Like, merit is actually part of the cisgender heteronormative patriarchy that you're seeking to dismantle. So what does it matter that you had the qualifications or that you were doing your job in an excellent manner? It doesn't. You lack the diversity. So how can you be the diversity officer? This is what the students were saying. And from an ideological perspective, it's very difficult to disagree with the students. Anyway, like this to me was absolutely hilarious. Let me know what you guys think though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.